What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the deck video everyone voted for on last month's poll, Time Thief. If you guys missed it, I'm planning to do a monthly poll for new decks to play on ranked for Master Duel. So last month Time Thief beat out Mathmex, Element Sabers, and Karakuri. Luckily I did manage to build Sky Strikers on my other account, so Mathmex are still possible for you fellas that voted for them. Onto the deck, I did model this after the list I used in the previous video on YG Omega, so if you want to see a deeper explanation of the primary combo, you can check that out in the first replay of the video. The Time Thieves are an Exceed deck that revolve around attaching extra materials to the Exceed monsters and then getting specific effects off based on the cards they detach, at least in the case of their two best Exceed monsters. First things first, this deck is difficult to run pure for several reasons, so things will be assisted by some packets of Raidraptors and Phantom Knights, two other really good Exceed decks. The good things the Thieves have going for them, however, are a searchable counter trap, a really good starter monster in Regulator, and the Exceed monster everyone loves, Redoer. Redoer is a famous generic Exceed that can detach a monster to banish itself from the field into the end phase, detach a spell to draw a card, detach a trap to bounce an opponent's monster, or it can do all three. It also steals the top card off your opponent's deck each standby phase, so while that does seem luck based, it can provide some unintentional disruption if you steal a weird combo piece that they need, such as Spiral Resort. Shade Brigandine the Trap is pretty essential for giving Redoer his real form of disruption, as minor as it may seem, but when paired with other cards you can make a pretty solid board. The main starter for the deck, Regulator, tributes itself to summon any two thieves from the deck, which should always be Winder and Bezel Ship. Winder can search a thief card on summon, which should be the counter trap usually, and Bezel Ship is actually a pretty good extender and extra form of disruption in some cases. Aside from summoning itself by detaching a material, it can also tribute itself to steal a card from the opponent's grave for your Time Thief Exceeds, which can come up with Perpetua if you plan on using him as an Exceed material. Those are the key Time Thief monsters with the counter trap needing no explanation, as searchable counter traps going first are always good. Chronocorder is a rare defensive option, but you do not want to see this card really outside of attaching it with Perpetua or sending it to the grave with Adjuster. Adjuster is a pretty basic extender, but it isn't something you should count on since Regulator needs no other monsters to use its effect. She is pretty much an emergency extender for awkward hands where you only have Winder or worse. Now I could get into the Raidraptor and Phantom Knight aspect of things, but honestly these are common engines for a lot of Exceed decks. 4 Strix being a generic Exceed can guarantee you Y Strix, which provides rank up options, and since the deck is primarily made up of dark monsters, Rusty Bardich is another goal to provide extra disruption and extension via himself, a trap search, and a rank up search. Before I get into the replays, you can run a Kali Yuga combo in this with the other Phantom Knight's rank up spell, but since that move is VFD adjacent and not letting your opponent play Yu-Gi-Oh!, I decided against it. In all honesty, the strongest board in this deck is probably tough to beat too, but we'll manage. Getting into this long combo, honestly I didn't mind the deck, but the combo did take a while to complete in this slightly slower simulator, so while I was streaming the deck I got bored of taking too long I think. If you're not a fan of summoning over 15 monsters in one turn, then this isn't for you. It also gets hit by Nibiru, so if you have Crossout Designator, Droll and or Droplets could be replaced if you are getting hit frequently. This combo only needs a single copy of Regulator to get you Rusty, Infinity, Redoer, Perpetua, Ultimate Falcon, the Counter Trap, Fogblade possibly, and another rank up spell to go into Arc Rebellion during your opponent's turn for the Rusty pop. There are some key moves to make to avoid making an error, and I did mess things up quite frequently starting out, but at the minimum you should be able to make Infinity, Rusty, Redoer, Ultimate Falcon, and the Counter Trap pretty easily. Dark Ruler and Droplets are stopped by the Counter Trap, Ultimate Falcon is immune to everything, and Infinity has the key Omni Negate, leaving your only real nightmare to be Lava Golem. Even Kaijus don't put a good enough dent into this board. Parallel Exceed is not needed here too badly, truthfully, but it does provide an amazing backup if Regulator gets hit with Effect Veiler, or Imperm as we can go into Almirage for a modified combo. Here I do use it and bypass the step of reviving Greater's Wing later on, but it doesn't really change your combo for the most part as you are still getting the needed materials. Perpetua is probably the least needed piece of the combo, but it does help in case you lose Redoer to a Kaiju or something, so if you mess up somewhere don't worry about summoning her. Now a crucial part here is to summon Infinity right away, as for our next play, Strangle Lanius will lock us into dark monsters. It's too late to stop Nibiru, so if it happens just cry yourself to sleep, but if it doesn't you're free to continue into Rusty. There are a lot of Garnets in the deck, so sometimes you might open a piece such as a rank up or Fogblade, and that is fine. You can use your Rusty or Silent Boot search on something else. If you open Silent Boots, you can special summon it after Rusty and pop it for the search while sending Raider's Wing instead, since it counts as a Phantom Knight card. Not an ideal play, but it will work in some capacity. Now a big mistake I always forget is to always try to make Redoer with Shade Brigandine following the Rusty play. It gives you that good disruption for him, but an alternative would be attaching the other trap flyback to serve a similar purpose if things went wrong. Once you get the quick play rank up, you can summon Arsenal Falcon using 4 Strix as a material. It is mandatory to use 4 Strix, as we will be tributing Arsenal to summon Ultimate Falcon, and for that effect to trigger, you need to have a Raidraptor material attached to him. With that leftover material, however, you can summon Necro Vulture from the deck and tribute the Arsenal to trigger his effect and get the rank up back from the grave. Necro is the most iffy part of this combo, as he really isn't that essential and just provides a rusty pop during your opponent's turn. You already have a decent board with Infinity and the others, so if you want to skip this step, you could pop Arsenal Falcon with Rusty instead and still get the ultimate. As you can see, Super Polymerization is another nightmare, more so with Starving Venom, but despite that, we should still have enough to stop our opponent through our Rusty pop and redo or spin. Now this combo may seem intimidating, but it is not the only way to play the deck. The second and fourth replays do show what to do in a less ideal scenario, and Redoer, Bezel Ship, and the counter trap is still a decent board. There's also the possibility of triggering your PSY-Frame Gamma, which can get you Lambda. It is probably one of the rarer extra deck monsters, but Lambda and Redoer do work hand in hand in getting you searches each time he banishes himself. I'm actually playing a purer version of Time Thief currently in the XC Festival, so if you guys do want to see that, make sure to sound off in the comment section and stay tuned for that video. The Twitch schedule has been changed slightly, so Yu-Gi-Oh! Streams are now on Tuesdays, so make sure to catch the live streams and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.